Hello and welcome to today's video. Today's a bit of a special one since I've hit my 100 subscribers, so a massive thank you to all those who've helped me get that far, and I hope to keep on growing the channel as I keep on bringing new content out. So for today's video I'm going to be looking at my Turn X Gundam, which I've done in a custom scheme using sort of chameleon paint. So I'm going to show you the chameleon paint a little bit later and a little bit of an explanation about how I used it and what I did to get the effect. So this is the chameleon paint I've used. This is actually for automotive uses. It was one I bought quite a while ago for another project I had, so I thought I'd make use of it still and just show you what it looks like. So with this paint, you have to be very careful with this one. It's definitely takes a lot of effort to use. I think same with most chameleon paint applications. So for this one, it needs to be put onto a solid black base coat. So for this, you generally do about 10 different light coatings with the airbrush. And the benefit with this paint is it's all ready to spray, so you can just put it straight through your airbrush. It actually runs through really smoothly. You don't get any clogs or anything with this. I'd just say you just want to make sure that your airbrush is fully clean before you use it, because you don't want any other paint caught up in it, because then that can contaminate the overall finish of the paint job. Okay, so now let's get back onto the model. Okay, so here is the kit, built, painted, with everything that comes out of the box with it as well. So you have your Turn X Gundam, you have your stand with all of the extra parts on there, and that's for when you separate all of the limbs and armour off of the Turn X, and you can have it split out. And then you have your small little figures, and you have your man sitting, which I haven't put in yet, but I will at some point get around to painting him up and fitting him in. So this one's quite unique because you only have the one actual hand, so you've only got one set of hands. So you've got one rifle holding hand, you then have your other holding hand here, so these are all for some of the different weapons, and then you have your open spread hand here as well. You also get a standard base adapter for if you want to use it on a normal base, and then you have your one beam effect for the other arm, which I will show a little bit later. Okay, so I've just removed the backpack, so I'll take a look at that afterwards. So I'm going to go through some of the mobility on this kit, but I will do that by removing some of the sections off, and I can show you each part then separately. Okay, so let us start off with the head. So you have movement back, forth, left, right, and all the way around, and then you have an extra movement on the actual neck joint here, so you can lift it up and back all the way down. And then the head can just pop off, and so there you have it, and then the head opens up, good focus there, so you can then see inside with some chromed sections there I put in. There you go. So now let's move on to the left arm. So here has two sections to this arm, so I'll just pop off the joint here, but just to show you the movement first. So you've got a pretty decent arm bend considering all the extra movement that this actually has. And then we flat, and we'll spin all the way around. And on the wrist, just on a ball joint, and just wiggles about nicely. And this is just using the switchable hands with the movable thumb. Have a look at it on that. Okay, now I'll just separate it out. So once you've separated the forearm out, just put that down to one side, and then you have the shoulder with the top of the arm, and that will close down. I'll show you that again. So the section here will just close up, and that will be part of the separation gimmick for this kit. So now let's have a look at the other arm. So it just pops off, put that to one side. So it's very much the same, apart from, as you notice, with the Turn X it's very asymmetrical, so it focus a bit. And so it's pretty much the same movement, but actually I always find it slightly a bit better on this one for some reason. I think it's just the way that I positioned the shoulder armour, but considering all the extra gimmicks on this, it is really nice to see. So I will just separate that out, and the shoulder unit is exactly identical to the other side for this, and so I'll just put that to one side. Okay, so with the arm here, it has a bit of a moving out gimmick, so this whole section will pull out just like that, and as you can see inside there, a bit of gold detailing with silver and a few different types of gold, and then this will just open out for the claws. And then if I just get the effect part, I can show you it with that. So the effects part just slots in just like that, and there you have it. Take that out for now and close this up. So this just closes up just the way you unplug it, so you just match the parts up. Can be a bit fiddly the first time you do it just to get it right, but there you go, all nicely back together. Next we're going to look at is the torso. So that just pulls out, and so now put that to one side. So torso hasn't got a lot, just what you've seen before. So on the neck section here, that lifts up and down just to give that a little bit extra movement. This is for the fitting for the backpack, and then you have the shoulder joints here which just pull out slightly there, and that's about it for this one. So you can get it to pull out quite a bit and then just push them back in. So next up, I'll take a look at the legs. So legs are different but the same, so I'll just use one of them to show you. So for the legs, there's a few little gimmicks on this here. So you have little vent blades up here, which just can come all the way down like that, and you can see the mounting points here. And then for the bend, you have bend there at the top, and then all the way back down for there, and then actually on the foot itself, which is quite a bulky thing, so we'll start off at the top. So here you've got a bend here at the heel. You can then rotate this back and forth. To be able to actually move, to swing the heel back and forth though, you need to get it positioned just right for this, just so you're not going to catch it. It's just something just to be careful of. And then this will swing out quite a bit just to help get some stability on the poses. And as you can see, it blocks a little bit on the end here, so you can't go too far that side. But then as soon as you move it, freeze up. Then on the actual toes themselves, they fold down and you can twist them around, and then you have twists on the actual small toe sections as well, both the same, they'll just spin all the way around. So you can just let that popping out, and you can just get it positioned relatively quite how you want it to, for if you're trying to get it to stand up by itself without using the stand. and then for part of the transformation afterwards I will show you how these all fold in, because that's the next stage of it. Other leg off, and that will be exactly the same, but it does have a bit of a different look to it. I'll just show those right next to each other like that. They've got their asymmetrical design still carrying through. On the waist unit, this is a bit you have to be quite careful of when you're positioning the model. So here you have here which has a small bit of up and down and rotation all the way around. There you are. Okay, and then same on the other side, and then you have this section here which lifts out just like so. So that's all the main parts of the body for the Turn X Gundam. So I'll just put those to one side, and then I'll get the backpack. So here's the backpack. So for this I went for a solid sort of turquoise colour, just to break it up from the rest of the chameleon paint in the silvers. It's quite a simple backpack really. There isn't a lot of moving parts other than for the weapons. You do have your mounting point here which moves inside here. We'll be able to show that a bit easier when it's actually back equipped onto the mobile suit. Okay, so you have a look at that. And for the weapons, so they've all got their own little mounting points. So I'll start off with the handgun. So the handgun has a small little peg inside, so for equipping it to the to one of the hands. So as with most of the weapons on this kit, they are quite basic really. They aren't overly elaborate, so they're just a couple bits of plastic put together. I've just tried to add a little bit of detail with some of the chrome pen just to bring out some extra on there. So then you have your rifle. So the rifle has a little bit of a gimmick. So for here, so the handle is actually tucked away inside, so you can just pop that out, and then that's got the peg on the side inside as well, so for equipping it. And same with the other, I've added a bit of chrome and silver just to break up the grey. And then we move on to the bazooka. So that just this out. So for the bazooka you have another little hidden away grip, and just say it's a bit, so it looks a little bit open on this side here. So I'm not the biggest fan for this weapon. I think it just looks better while it's actually just stayed equipped inside. I think that goes really with most of the weapons on this one. I much prefer it with the widespread open hand when the weapons are all actually in the backpack. And then lastly we have the missiles. So the missiles have an additional feature. So when it's actually equipped on, you can flip this out, and there you have the missiles ready for use whilst on the backpack there. And then just to take them off, it's just on a little clip which is on here, and that just slots on the peg on the top. And so for this one, this is to be sort of like held in the hand, sort of like that. There you go. I'm a little bit more impressed with the rocket pods on this one. I'll just put those back together. Definitely one thing I really do like about the backpack is though that all the weapons do fit nicely on there, so they're all tucked out of the way, so you're not having to keep them anywhere separately, so they're all there ready to go. Okay, so with all the parts separated, you can display it in its part separated form. So we'll start by doing that. When I get to the legs, I will show you how to switch them into their transformed state, but to start with, let's have a look at what there is so far. So the head fits just on the top here. There you go. The sort of like the chest actually just slots in to small peg on here, and just fits in just like so. waist unit. And that just pops up and clips onto the support here, and just get it positioned how you want it. So then onto the shoulders. So shoulders have this small peg, and that will just match up into the peg on here. You just make sure you get it on the right. So there you go. And you can just position them out. And then the same on the other side. And then you can just rotate them around and do whatever you want to pose them anyway. And the arms, it's a slightly different connector for these ones, so that just fits in here, and there you go. And then for the other arm it's the same, it's just using a smaller peg for those ones, so it'll only fit one way. There you go. Okay, so that is top part all fitted together in its split out form. And now put that to one side, and we'll go and take a look at the legs. Okay, so for the legs, it's just a little bit involved in these ones, so you just want to pull this back, and then inside here you have two tabs which are connected at the back there, and you can just push those in, and then same on this side, so that will just slide in there, and then this will allow these bits to fold down just like that. And that bit, that's one bit which does like to pop out every now and then. And you can just position that up just so it's flat, and that can fold in and then can fold down, and this can position out just like that. And then it'll be the same on the other leg. So inside here you can see you can just push that in that side, and then same on that side there. And just fold feet out and then push those bits together down, and then there you go. So then when we grab the rest of it there, those will just fit in just here. So for these, you just want to make sure, because it's a bit more weighty, so you just want to make sure it's popped in just nicely, and then position it in, and then just do the same on the other side. So just being quite careful. So sometimes these sections are a bit loose, but it does help you at least to get it positioned just how you want it. I'd rather them be a little bit loose for these than to be too tight, because then you do run the risk of them being extremely hard to remove. So just position it back like that there. And so there it is in its split out form. Just change the lighting up a bit just so you can see the colour shift a little bit easier. So let's just have a look. So that's my completed custom painted Turn X Gundam. At the time I started painting this one, it was probably my most challenging build just due to the colour shift paint on something of this sort of size. It's I've used the colour shift paint before on some Warhammer models for various different effects, but because this one has a lot more sweeping panels and quite larger panels, just to get it to capture the light and just for it to give that right look, just took a little bit of extra care, especially with getting the base coat just right. With this one I also used a lot of other sort of like different colours just to try and break up the darkness of the paint. So I'm using a lot of the aluminium sort of steel, as well as some grey and some gold as well, just to accent some of the areas. The backpack I wanted to keep separate and just have it look a bit unique and stand out, so that was the reason behind the turquoise metallic there. And then the weapons I just kept with a sort of like a dull grey, just so they stick out a little bit differently and it separates out nicely to the colours. So I would highly recommend this kit, whether you're going to paint it or just leave it as it is. It's a great showpiece and will look great on your shelf or cabinet, wherever you like to keep your Gunpla. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you've already subscribed, a massive thank you to you, and if not, I hope you've seen this video and you enjoy the content, and I hope I can earn your subscription going forward. So thanks very much for all your support, and see you next time.